Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So again, I just want to thank you guys so much for those supporting the videos, man. Yeah, so another topic that I kind of want to discuss is why I kind of transitioned from making gaming content to trying to make like more like fitness and like electric guitar content on this channel. I do have another channel that I was making content on since like 2019. Here's the funny part. I kind of wanted to be a Smash YouTuber when I first started out in 2019. You know? It's actually kinda funny 'cause I went back to my old channel today, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Yo, like, I can't believe, like that's kinda, like, where I started at," you could go back it doesn't have that many subscribers, not that that matters, but it's kinda funny just, like, looking back at, you know, where I started out making content and how, like, my thumbnails weren't, the greatest. I'm trying to just, like, kinda just, like, learn, the ropes of, like, YouTube, you know? I mean, obviously, I didn't end up becoming like very big, but still, like I learned a lot, in the process, of just trying to just, being in that environment. But as far as like the gaming stuff, like gaming is not, where it was. I didn't even realize like before COVID, like gaming was so good. Not to say that it isn't now. Like there's opportunities and stuff, but it's like I don't know how to exactly word it, but it's like the substance or like the soul is like gone, like they're only about like making money. Again, like I said, playing Street Fighter, playing Tekken, Final Fantasy, um, NBA 2K, I played that for years from like 12 on to like 16. I dabbled in 20 a little bit. I mean, again, like 2K kind of like fell off, you know, like after like 16, 17 to like the onwards, like they start pushing microtransaction. I kind of think that's kind of what destroyed gaming a little bit too. So it's like, rather than trying to provide value to the end consumer, like it was more like, how can we like nickel and dime, you know? So I think, as far as like that end, like with fitness content and, having the electric guitar, it's kind of something different. It's kind of something new, that I'm pursuing. Originally on my other channel, uh, I was actually supposed to do fitness content as well, but I never really like pursued that. I got so caught up in, I'm a gamer, I got a Nintendo Switch or a PlayStation, I kind of just wanted to pursue that. But again, as I guess you get older, I don't know if it's like your interests change or just like the energy that you have, or like you just want to, do something like a little bit more meaningful, where people can relate a little bit more. Obviously, like I said, I'm probably still gonna upload content to my gaming channel like here and there, but I that when I was doing it, like it was just something like I was just going through the motions with, like I kind of got it down to the T. Like I found some B-roll footage, I say a topic, try to relate it to a certain game and then upload it. Obviously, like I said, I still kind of can mix in gaming content because that's kind of what got me to where I am now. But it's kind of like a better mixture because I feel like, there's a lot more going on with the electric guitar. I could kind of mix in, some instrumentals. I could talk about like again, like I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to just like figure it out. I mean, like I said, it's funny how I originally started making gaming content because that's kind of was one of my passions, something I was doing on the side. And then, like I said, years later, I would hear, instrumentals. I never really thought like I would try to practice it, but now, here I am. I'm like, oh, like, it'd be cool to like kind of like mimic some of the instrumentals that I heard on some of the games, I enjoyed playing, or some of the favorite songs that I heard playing. So, I mean, it's crazy how, life like works or plays out. That's something like my uncle would say. But just like hearing certain things and whether it be gaming or like I said, making content on the electric guitar or fitness, I'm trying to just like trying to be more relatable and I feel like bring more value in a way that's more meaningful to me versus like, I'm just uploading the gaming or gaming video and it doesn't really matter. Obviously, like I said, I still could kind of mix it in here and there, but I don't have to make that like my main focus. I think sometimes that's where uh YouTubers or people uploading videos kind of like pigeonhole or tunnel vision themselves in, is trying to be so like narrow focused on like one different topic. You know, you don't have to just do one thing. You feel like talking about something and it's like relevant to, an idea, I would say just put it out there, you know. That's kind of what I want this channel to be more about, not, oh, I'm a gamer, I got a PlayStation 5, or, I want to talk about this. Is kind of like a more culmination of like all my experiences, but obviously, like I said, mostly focusing more so on like the electric guitar because it's new. Same thing with gym content. Maybe it's not, like I'm actually at the gym, but maybe I give talk about like, how I started doing yoga, how I started doing, mat Pilates, on a gaming channel. I don't know if people are really gonna want to hear about it. So like, again, that's another reason why I kind of was just like, all right, let me just try something different. So I mean, essentially, like I'm just glad I kind of just got the itch and just like went with it, And as always, I just want to say, thank you to anybody that listened. And, hopefully I'll bring you guys some cool content, coming down the line as ideas like trickle in. See you guys in the next one. Peace.